The things you will need for this project will be some 18 gauge wire, 20 gauge wire, 28 gauge wire, or anything, you know, similar gauge. You know, you can, if you haven't got those wires, make it up with whatever wires you have got. You'll need some 6mm beads, some 4mm beads, and a size 8/0 seed bead. So in the video I've said 8mm seed bead, but it's an 8/0 Miyuki seed bead, and some pliers, a couple of pairs of pliers, maybe your skinny ones and some thicker ones, some round nose pliers, or if you want you could use your baling pliers if you have them, because then you don't have to do that. So I've marked to get the right size, but obviously with these they're sized, so you could use your baling pliers. And for your loops at the top, you know, when you do your, you could use these pliers if you know, if you've got them and if you know how to use them. They make a real easy, quick loop. But I didn't use them in the video because I don't know if people have these, but most of you might have a pair of round nose pliers in your kit. So by all means you can use any of these combination of pliers, and I think that's all you need. Oh, and your cutters, of course, your cutters, and maybe a tape measure or a ruler. Yeah, and that's all you're going to need. Yes, look, I'm making socks on a loop needle. I've never done it before, so that's just on start to cuff. What do you think? I've always got a project on the go. My friend's helping me and teaching me, so I'm learning to knit socks. I want to make all my own socks. Anyway, let's get on with the video. This is what you're going to need. Yeah, I think that's about it really. All right, let's crack on. And one more thing, maybe a good book. I love this book. It tells you all kind of, you know, how to make your a lot of the techniques I learned for this piece that I made came from this book. So I don't always like to watch tutorials, I like to learn from books. And this one, yeah, there are loads of books out there, but I would suggest getting yourself a nice book on wire bending. There's loads of wire wrapping and wire weaving, wire bending books that I really want. That one's by Sharin Miller. It's an old book. I got this second-hand, a bit dirty. Yeah, I got this second-hand. But yeah, there's some really nice wire wrapping books that I'd like, but they're more sort of newer out and they're quite expensive books. So, but yeah, do get yourself some good books. That's always handy to have a reference, so that while you're working, you've got, you know, something you can refer to that will help you. So yeah, other than that, that's all you're going to need. Okay guys, let's crack on. We're going to do the first component of the earring, because I've already got that bit done. So we'll do that and then we'll put it together. Oops, sorry, I'm going to do my roly-poly. That's about 8 centimetres, 8.5 centimetres I've got there. I've rolled it flat with if you've seen the other videos you'll know my little trick. Where's my pliers? There they are. Right, so what I'm going to do is make this piece here, because that's the only piece I haven't shown you of everything else, and then I'm just going to show you how to put it together. You have to excuse my hands, I've been sitting to the fire, pottering around outside, and I've just eaten a satsuma, so my fingers are all orange. They look most peculiar, but... Right, so we're going to take one end, sorry, yeah, about there, no, a little bit further down, yeah, about an inch or so, maybe a bit more. And I'm going to wrap it around that mark on my pliers. I'm going to wrap it all the way until it sits like that. Like so. I'll take it off so you can see it's just bent around like that. And then what I'm going to do is put it back on pliers. Bring it up so it meets, and then I'm just going to wrap this wire, the little one, around the long one, trying to get it as nice and neat and tight as I can. Just wrap it round a couple of times, either 2 or 3 depending on how much wire you've got. Get a good hold on it and wrap it round like that. Oops. And because mine's so short, I'm not even going to cut that. I'm just going to squeeze it and tuck the end in, like so. Where's my end? There it is. I'm going to give it a real squeeze and turn. As I squeeze, I'm going to turn just like that, and that will tuck that end so it doesn't feel sharp or anything. So you've got one end done like that. And then just slide your bead on. Oops. There we go. And for this one we've used the 20 gauge. You see that sunlight streaming in, isn't it gorgeous? A lovely morning. My little fire's crackling, it's all warm and cosy, the birds are singing, it's lovely. Right, so then we're going to do the same again. Take my pliers, I'm going to leave a little space this side for wrapping my wire around. And the same as what I said in the other videos, if you practice and do this a few times, just wrap it around like so. Like that. Once you've done this a few times, yeah, you'll become sort of comfortable with it, and it'll get easier and easier, and you'll be able to judge how much space you need. And sort of like, I've left way too much space, look. So I'm going to undo that. Way too much space. That's for not concentrating. So put your bead down. Like so, yeah. And then before I wrap it round, I joined it to get it to, attach. Aren't those labradorite lovely? Right, so what I did was I just slid this on, like so. And then took my little piece and did my wrapping. This is really soft wire, so I've started it off with my fingers, and then put your pliers back in and hold it nice and tight. Oops. Hold it nice and tight, then take your little pliers and just wrap around till you get the length you want. Oops, there we go. And then snip your wire. Obviously this is just a bit rough. I haven't, not taking my time very well here. Pinch your wires so there's nothing sharp, and as you pinch it, give it a twist like that, and it sort of twists it in and under, so it's under the level of the other wires and it doesn't scratch or catch. And then you want one of your loops to face that way and one of your loops to face the other way, like so. So that's how you do the loopy, the little bit with the bead. And again, just keep practicing. The more you do it, the easier it'll get. I did that on the large loop, but really you probably want to do it on the smaller side for joining, but it's really up to you. These ones I did quite big, I guess. This one's even bigger. So really maybe make those a bit smaller, or whatever size you want really. But yeah, it's just playing around and practice. So that's how we do that top piece here. So that's that bit. So then we can go ahead and put the whole thing together. So I've already done that one. And then I've got that one and that one to join. So with this one, I worked my way from the bottom upwards. But I'd already made a pair, like a practice pair, taken them apart, and then I started joining them. I did this one and this piece, and then I thought, actually, I might be better working bottom up, so that's what I did. So we're going to join that one, and then these ones, and then this group here, which is 3 of these. Yeah, if we can get that to show in the sunlight, the sheen on the labradorite. Can you see it? They've all got quite a nice sheen on them, these beads. Really nice. Right, okay, I'm using some 28 gauge. I'm going to take my round piece, this part of the earring. I'm going to start by attaching this piece of wire to one of these, whichever one you want. I want to be working inwards so that my working wire is ending up on this side, not that side. So I'm going to poke that through the back, hold that firmly, up twice, squidge all those wires up together, like so. And then I'm going to come in here, squidge them with my pliers, and we'll deal with that tail end in a minute. I'm going to come in here, nice and close to where the crease is, look, the fold, the join, whatever you want to call it, and go back in through your loop, put it all the way up, through the middle, and down. And do the same again, put that tail out of the way, up through the middle, pull tight and down. I'm going to do that one more time, up through the middle, up through there, and pull as nice and tight as you can, like so. And then you've got a little tail coming out the back. I'm going to pull that tail down, cut it so there's enough space to tuck it under. Oops, doesn't want to cut that one. And then needs to cut a bit closer. Cut that nice and close. And then we're going to just tuck that in with our pliers. So it goes underneath that bar here. And then there'll be no scratchy edge. You can go around and turn those bits in at the end. That's what I do, go and do all the finishing off and the pinching at the end. Just get it put together. So you've got that coming in the middle, like so. Coming up there. Right, so take your beads and put the larger one first. You can see the hole. The sunlight's glaring right in my eyes. I have to move. Where's the hole gone? There it is. Put your bead, then your second bead. Oh. And I think I've got a 6mm and a 4mm bead. And then I've got 8mm Mayuki seed bead there. So what I'm going to do is, because the wrap's going to be on the top on this side, I'm going to poke the wire through to the other side, and that'll kind of make it sit a bit more balanced. sure the beads are sitting nice like that. And then just wrap it round, hold it in place, poke it through and wrap that a couple of times, like so. And try and squidge your wires together, get it sitting where you want it, make sure it sits straight before you finalise anything. And then I will do one more wrap. And that's that bit done. Just pull it into position. And I want the little piece in the bottom to have a little bit of motion, so we'll add that bit. What done with it? Ooh. Oh, there it is. That's my little end dangly piece. So I'm going to just thread that on. And instead of pulling it tight, I'm going to sort of bend the wire a little bit like that with a gap. And then poke it through. And I'm going to sort of pull it tight, but at the same time I'm holding on to it so it's not actually tight. It's, you know, got some movement to it. And then I'm going to go through it one more time. There's a little bit of wire attached to that. From where I took it apart last time. That oops. Excuse me. It's very early. I need to hydrate. I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. It's been a lovely sunrise and the birds have been singing, so I've just been enjoying a little bit of early morning crafting. Bead therapy before I start my day. It's still really early here. Oops. So I've got a bit of a dry throat this morning. Hopefully I'm not getting the bug that my grandsons have had, because I've had so many. It's like, oh, just really, I could do without another cold. I just don't need any more snotty nose. So yeah, that's dangling, look, it's got some motion to it. So I'm going to wrap that another time around and then cut that off. Maybe two wraps, just to be sure. You don't want your dangle coming off, do you? Do two, and yeah, that should be sufficient. I don't want to do it too tight either. I want it to, yeah, that's it. Bit of motion there. And do the same with this wire. Pull it round. And then cut it really close. And pinch it so the wire sits under. And like I say, go back around at the very end and check all your wires, pinch them all, you know, into place, make sure there's no sharp edges. I mean, I could fiddle around with it now, but then the video will be super long, so I can do all that tweaking at the end. So just get your thing on, and you know, like I say, go around at the end and tweak everything. Right, so that's the dangle. I've got the top piece. I want it to match the other one, so let's see what we did. Check what we did first. Aha, yeah, one in between and two to join. So yes, we'll take that wire. Still got a piece left. And this time we're going to wrap it round this one. So put your wire through that piece. Oops, didn't go through. Wrap that around. So tail end? There's my tail end. Just gonna pull that tail end over nice and tight. Pinch it all up. Get it where I want it. Pinch it all together. A little bit like that. Like I say, you can fine tune and tweak at the end. Can't see the hole in my bead, so I'm going to have to take it away in the light. I think what's happening is the sunshine's actually coming in the window and glaring off my glasses, and I can't see anything. It's really annoying. But it's lovely having the morning light, so look at that sheen on the labradorite. Isn't that lovely? I don't know if it's the camera's catching it, but I can see it in the light. Right, then just poke it through the other side. Same again. This time make sure it's nice and tight. You want this bead to stay in place. Just keep it in place, hold it steady, and just wrap 2 or 3 times. And this is just going to be a dangling earring. It's not like it's going to be a bracelet with anything pulling or any pressure on this particular join here. So you don't need to wrap too many times. So I'm going to cut that one off there. And I'm going to cut that one off there. I'm going to turn them in a tiny bit, but like I say, for the purposes of the video, not being too long, I'm going to come back later on and tweak it all. Make sure everything's sitting nice. And there's no sharp edges. So I'll come back and tweak that in a bit. So that's that next bit done like that. And then we just add these two, which is in exactly the same way. So take our wire, 28 gauge wire. So I've got 26 and 28. You could use 26, you know, just experiment with what you've got. If you haven't got it, that's how I learned. I didn't necessarily have all the things I needed, so I just practiced with whatever I had, which wasn't necessarily what was, the instructions in the tutorial. Sometimes it would say you've got to use this gauge or that gauge, and I didn't have it. So I just practiced with whatever wire I did have, and it all helps. All helps. Just don't be disheartened. So your first piece might be a bit wonky, or but it's practice. That's why I advise making the shapes. Just have fun making shapes, playing with them. Fool around with them, and you could even make a load of shapes and bundle them together. I did that one time. I'll have to show you the thing that I made, joining my shapes together. I think it's up on my desk. Hang on, I'll show you. I was practicing different weaving and different, just different bits and bobs. Oh, this has become quite, it's gone very dark. I used 2 different types of wire, a dark wire and a light wire, and I'd practiced some coiling and some weaving just on tiny little pieces, and I just twisted them all up, look, and wove them all together. And I actually quite like that. I think it just looks gorgeous. I really like that, just plain wire, just with a bit of weaving, How lovely is that? Just joined various pieces together with the different wires I've done. Just playing with techniques, things I'd not done before. So, like I say, just play with some shapes, muck around and do it with whatever wire you've got. I had this dark wire. Someone gave it to me years ago, but yeah, it's great for weaving, and quite a nice effect with the 2 colours, I think. So yeah, just play around with shapes, practice, muck about, have fun, that's the whole thing, is to enjoy it. Sometimes I feel like a child at play. It's like, oh, I've got all this stuff to play with, and I'm just gonna go in my craft studio and just play. with all my shiny beads, like Smorg in the den. I absolutely love it. I love coming in here and playing around. So yeah, don't be afraid to just kind of practice with whatever you've got. Don't go out spending loads of money or feel like, don't let it stop you because you can't afford things, because I didn't have all the stuff I needed. You know, it's only recently I've got actual rolls of wire. So before that I was just buying little bits of wire and they came in little bags, just little rounds of it. Where is one of them? Like this. And they came in a little bag, and that's why I didn't want to waste wire, because, you know, I wanted to try this out before I knew if I was going to be any good at it or if I was going to actually, you know, get into it. So, and that's why I was afraid to waste any wire, but I just took the plunge, went and bought a few rolls in different sizes and just played until I felt I had a bit of confidence in what I was doing. So, and that's my advice. And the other earring, the front sits like that. So I'm trying to make it the same, depending which way yours sits. Yeah. So you're going to join that. So it's going to sit like that. Just wrap that one a couple of times. Maybe 3. Should do. Because again, this is not, unless someone's trying to rip your earrings out, it's not really going to have much pressure on it. It's not like a bracelet or an anklet, or, you know, you've got to make sure you have really strong joints when you're making something like that. But with an earring, it's not going to be anywhere near as much, you know, wear and tear on it. So that's one side. Let's do the next side, and then all I've got to do is go around and tuck my ends in, and add my earring component. And as well, you can make your own. I bought a book. I bought a really good book on wire stuff, and yeah, in there it shows you how to make all your own earring hooks and other kind of findings, like, you know, bracelet attachments and stuff like that. So you could make your own, matching out with the same wire that you're using, because that's one thing I struggle with, is claspings with bracelets. If I make a beautiful bracelet, I don't want a cheap clasp. I can't always afford silver, so I was thinking just make my own clasps out of the sterling silver wire, and that makes, you know, my piece sort of much more nicely finished, and I don't have to buy the oh, I forgot to put my bead on it. Look, I'm chatting away. This is why we don't chat when we bead. Right, let's find another bead, slip that on. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying now, but anyway. Yeah, weave that next one on. Yeah, don't be afraid to experiment, basically. That's what I think. Just practice with whatever you've got. Have fun, get lost in it, and just enjoy yourself. Right, I'm gonna cut my wires. Going that way. And then, yeah, go around, tuck in all your edges, squish up all your wires, get everything joined up, and then give everything a good old squish into place. And that's about all there is to it. So then I usually take my pliers at the end and then give everything a bit of a straighten up like that. Just where we've been messing with it and everything's got a bit bent, you know, just don't pinch your beads, don't break any beads. And give everything a little tweak there, and then yeah, then we go back and do all our ends. There's one sticking out that I haven't even cut properly, so I'm going to go around, cut all my ends, fold them all in, and I'll be back in a minute. And then your very last job is to take your earring hook and simply open it up and pop your earring on. Close it back up, and voila, you have a lovely pair of earrings. There you go, I made a pair of earrings. Although I have to say, I think I've used a different gauge wire for this clover and this clover. So, but my daughter-in-law won't mind, they're a gift for her and I know she's going to love them, so one little pair of earrings. And they've got a nice little dangle on them. You can, nice little, just a little bit of motion there, look, that moves. And the rest of it moves just really nicely. But these joints don't move too much. There's a slight movement, but they keep their shape. So I'd use the 18 gauge for these pieces, and then that little bit that dangles, you know, that can be the lighter 20 gauge. So one lovely pair of earrings. I'm going to get them out in the sunshine and show you what they look like in the sunlight, because that morning sun is gorgeous, and these labradorite beads have such a lovely little sheen to them when you get them out in the sunshine. You can pick up that sheen on them, like with the moonstone. They're just gorgeous. If you can see that sheen there, I can. But yeah, but get them out in the sunshine, show you what they look like dangling, and that's all there is to it, guys. So yeah, make your shapes, practice, play around, and then sort of bring it all together and join it up. Like I say, you can put your shapes together in whatever order you see fit. You might want to do something completely different. You might end up playing around and make some different shapes, make a complete different pair of earrings. But I hope I've inspired you, encouraged you, and I hope you found that helpful. Yeah, anything helpful on our journey of arts and crafts is, you know, is good. So have a great day. Have fun. I'm going to go away and fine tune, tuck any little bits in as well, because I've got one of those magnifying lamps, and if you're like me, they're a really good idea. There's one I haven't tucked in, look. I missed one. Didn't clip that, and I didn't tuck it in, look. But yeah, what I do is I go and put this under my magnifying lamp, which is, my son bought it for me off Amazon. It's just a round lamp, and the lights go round the edge of the magnifying glass, and I put it under there and check and look at all my ends, make sure they're tucked in really nicely on the insides. So I'll do all that off camera, and that's how I get it really, really nice and neat, by going under that magnifying light. And I'll probably give this a pinch down here, make that sit a bit neater and stuff like that. So I'll do all that off camera, but let's get them out in the sunshine and have a quick look. Yeah, once you've made your earrings, just go around checking, fine-tuning, tweaking, you know, getting all your little ends in and all the rest of it. I'm going to get them out and show you them in the sunlight. And yeah, that's it, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day. See you all soon. Thanks for watching. Do take care. Stay inspired, stay creative. And if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe, join the channel, and there'll be lots more tutorials coming. Have a great day. See you all soon. Bye for now. Yes, very pretty, I like those. Camera doesn't do the labradorite justice, but in real life, super pretty. And I love that little dangle. So there you go, yeah, that's what they look like in the light. Just go and fine tune them, and then, yeah, a little bit of tweaking and they're done.